Deb. And be prepared, Mary. But you know, Deb's a very community-minded person. A couple times she's come to the city council table and she's signed and interpreted for Diane Teacup and for other folks. And she told me that she learned well from Mary, all of the things such as politeness and kindness and hard work and all the things that Mary emulates. But one day Diane was saying to her, when she was being overly nice, she said, that is getting sick. She said, you're just absolutely too nice. And Deb looked at her and said, what Mom always said, it's nice to be nice to the nice.
Okay, hi, ready? Okay, first I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Mary's family. Mom always told us when we were growing up, she taught us a lot of lessons, but one of the biggest one was you have to be really careful your whole life of what you say and what you do to other people because paybacks are hell. So tonight, I'm speaking for all those times she wouldn't extend our curfew, or she grounded us from the car for a month, and we'd only be 5 minutes late. But marathon month. For all the Legos and those noisy toys she brought our kids so they could torture us with them. Well, guess what, Mom? It's the safest. It's payback time. Okay. Tonight's theme seems to be adaptations. If you notice the words on the invitation, they were from the tune Proud Mary, and they were just adapted to fit Mom's career as city clerk. And I want to continue on this theme with a few adaptations of my own. The first is one that many of you older folks, and I don't see a lot of older folks, Ernie, but... you might remember the show, This Is Your Life. Well, this is a little adaptation with a twist. Instead of bringing people back to my mom's past, we brought my mom back from the past. So I'm going to have a few of her grandkids come out here and help us describe Mom, how some of you may have seen her over the years. So first we have Mary's granddaughter, Jackie. Oh, they're all in the hallway. First is Jackie, dressed much like Mom was as a child, growing up in that small rural community of Dundee. And I talked with the brothers last week to find out what kind of stories I would know about Mom, because obviously I didn't know my mother back in these years. These are what we called her BM years, her before marriage, the shitty years, Her brother said that they didn't have any really juicy stories. Mom was a good student, she did all her chores, she was a good person. It was sickening, I'm telling you. So I did remember a few that Mom happened to mention to us when I was little, and she told us that when she was in high school, you knew boys liked you, they would name cows after you. Well, my brothers were proud to tell me that there was a whole herd of heifers running around Dundee at that time named Mary. Including her job as city clerk at City Hall. And I learned from my uncles last Friday that she played basketball. Now, I've known her for, 43 years. And I didn't know she played basketball. I knew she was a cheerleader, but I didn't know she played basketball. Well, they were telling me of a specific contest where she took her job so much to heart that she collapsed on the court with gallbladder pains. That she wanted to play that game. That was what the thing was. Well, they ended up taking her off to the hospital, and she had to have her gallbladder removed. When the doctor came out, they said it was nothing left but gravel. And her brother Bill told me that they figured that all the rocks in her head had settled to her gall. If you notice, Jackie's also got a couple of pom-poms. Mom was a cheerleader in high school, and that was the only other story we had. Oh yeah, I should mention that. Mom was a cheerleader. My older sister Diane was a cheerleader at Hempstead. I was a cheerleader. I was the best cheerleader at Hempstead. Mom was a cheerleader at Hempstead, and Kathy was a cheerleader. We followed the footsteps of my mom. None of us, however, are looking to be city clerks. So. But as a cheerleader, the one story they did have for me was how mad her mother got, my grandmother, at a specific county tournament in Mason City. She did a cartwheel, God forbid, a cartwheel. Well, me being a cheerleader, I didn't understand the problem. A cartwheel, what's the big deal? She do it wrong or what? Well, they said back then the skirts were down past your knees. This is in the 50s, early 50s, late 50s, and the 50s. and nowadays they have those short little skirts with those little matching underwear that go with your skirts. Well, back then they had long skirts, no matching underwear. She did cartwheels. Oh, was Grandma mad? Then I heard later it wasn't because she showed off her underwear, it's because she wasn't wearing any. Remember seeing her all those years ago. No, Scott! Scott! That's not Scott! Now, if you notice, Scott's staring at a rather large. When Mom and Dad bought the current house they lived in, it was in 1961, and she had a baby in 61, 62, and 63. So, most of her neighbors probably remember her as being pregnant. If you'll notice, he's wearing his gloves, because she does like to work outside. She always has a flower bed, usually in her backyard now. She has a fountain back there and a flower garden. And she still tends her shrubs, but she doesn't do any outdoor painting at home anymore, because you notice when Scott sweatpants, when she was painting their house the first time, they painted charcoal gray, which is almost black. And Scott, she fell off the ladder. She fell off the ladder when she was painting the house, and needless to say, she had charcoal gray paint from the top of her head to the top of her toes. And even to this day, you can look real close, you'll see that gray in my mom's hair.
Don't have to look too close. Okay.
The neighbors sometimes help with Mom's seedy reputation, though. She didn't get it all by herself. Scott's also carrying a golf club. My mom did love to golf, even all over the years. And one of her favorite golfing buddies and neighborhood partners was Mary Ann Sabers, who's sitting, well, that's a Saber kid. Oh, there's Minnie. There's a story where Mary Ann and my mom had gone golfing, and Mary Ann and some family lived over by Hazel Green, I guess. They were driving to the farm, and there was a pond on this farm, and they went up the door, nobody was home, or they didn't think anybody was home, so they went down to the farm, and there was a boat on the pond, so they thought they'd take it for a little ride. Hopped in the boat, and sure enough, boat tipped over. My dad bought my mom a new watch, and the whole time I was going, oh my God, Neil's going to kill me, I can't get around. They get out of the pond, and now they're soaked, obviously, so they take off all their clothes, but the bras and underwears, hang them out to dry. So while they're drying, they're talking, you know, women talk. Finally get the clothes dry, they put them on, only to look up to the farmhouse and see if they were home after all, watching the show from the My mom was a stripper at an early age. Okay, next, dressed in the outfits that show her as we children see her are her grandchildren, her three granddaughters, Tanya and Tabitha and Amber. Tabitha's the littlest one there in the little white coat and the stethoscope. That's to show Mom as we see her as our nurse. She kissed our owies and made them better when we were growing up. Of course, sometimes she inflicted the owies too. One particular time, my older sister Diane and I, and we're like 4 years older than my sister, so we were supposed to be taking a nap. And Mom wanted her kids to take naps because that's when she sat outside with the neighbors and drank her coffee and told their stories. So kids are supposed to be in bed, kids are supposed to be sleeping. Well, we weren't sleeping. We were talking and laughing, so she's going to get even. She comes in there, and this is back in those days it was okay to spank your kids. And let me tell you, we got spanked a lot. She came in with her yardstick, and Dinah and I knew we were going to get one. So we rolled over, put our butts up there, and she brought down that yardstick and broke right in half. That's just what we did. We started laughing, and Mom was mad. Oh, she left the room frustrated, but we hear her laughing out in the hallway. She never bought a new yardstick either. She bought something worse. Okay, and Tanya's our little teacher there, and she's got her little chalkboard, and that's because Mom has always taught us some important lessons in life. You know, that's usual. Always wear clean underwear. There was one lesson, though, that we, to this day, have burned in our heads. We'd go out on a date with our boyfriends for important meetings and dates and proms, homecomings. Most of our friends, we'd go to their house and their moms would say, now do you have a dime to call home in case you get in a fight with your boyfriend, need a ride? You got a dime. Not our mom. You girls got your Kleenex? To this day, even 2 weeks ago, we were in Idaho, or 3 weeks over Christmas, and we went to the Red Lobster on the way to the airport, and Zoe had a runny nose, and she looked at my mom and says, Mom, I know you got Kleenex there somewhere. You got a Kleenex? I swear she stuffs it in her bra. Okay, Amber, did you bring out your motorcycle helmet? Oh, there's an interesting story for you. Another lesson Mom taught as well. Ed, in his youth, wanted to drive a motorcycle, and Dad every once in a while. But Mom, being a logical one, said, "Are you kidding? This is my only son, my baby boy. There's motorcycles. They're dangerous. You'll get hurt. Nope, can't have one." Well, Ed got one anyway. Well, Mom, not being a poor sport, one day Ed was in the backyard and he's going to show Zoe how to ride that motorcycle. So Mom thought, maybe it's worth learning. Maybe it's not such a bad deal after all. Well, she's in the backyard and Ed's showing her where the kickstand is, where the throttle is, where the clutch is, where the gear shifts are, where the brake is. He entrusts her to this motorcycle, his baby. She gets on it and the first thing she realizes she can't touch the ground. She can't surrender. It's got to be tipped for her to reach the ground. So Ed says, that's fine, you just tip it a little bit, then once you give it some gas, you get back up on it, get your balance, and you're off. So she gave it some gas, got gas, and ran right into the side of the house. Right down the side, tipped it over, and she's laying on the ground, of course. We're laughing. We think it's hilarious. She gets up, dusts herself off, looks at the score, and that, see, I told you they were dangerous. That's Mom. Now, Amber there, she's got Mom dressed up in the apron, and groceries, and her little cleanup brush and thing. She was our chief cook and bottle washer. She made us cookies, best chocolate chip cookies, peanut fritters beyond belief. But she doesn't always do so in the kitchen. There was a time with a pressure cooker on the kitchen stove. And these are those old-fashioned pressure cookers. You know, the lid locks on, you put the little spinning dial on the top, and builds up pressure, and it cooks the food fast, and you gotta wait for that pressure to subside before you take that little spinning dot off, where you got beef stew everywhere. Yeah, right to the ceiling, like Old Faithful. Beef stew everywhere. We had peanut butter that night. Okay, Jason is our next little contestant, and he's just like his grandchildren see her. This is how the grandkids see Grandma. She was always willing to clown around with the grandkids. And even Jason the other day, just for, I had the story already written, and I asked him what he thought, if he could remember back when he was a child of 2 and 3. Grandma always read to Jason. He was the first grandchild that came along. And he was the only grandchild for about 5 or 6 years. And I said, Jason, do you remember the book Grandma used to read to you? Saggy Baggy Elephant Pants. Well, now the name of the book was Saggy Baggy Elephant Book. But Grandma had changed it, and she didn't read the book. She flipped through the book and told a story to match the pictures, because it had real small print. So all of us other normal adults would sit down and read that book, and she'd have a fit. He'd just say, that's not the book. This is the Saggy Baby Elephant. There's a part in the book that when the elephant goes dance the jungle in 1, 2, 3, kick. You'd see Mom up around the living room. 1, 2, 3, kick. Over goes the lamp. 1, 2, 3, kick. The kids loved it. She was always great with reading stories. And she's always willing to have fun. Her brother Johnny used to live outside Des Moines, and one time we all went to visit Johnny, and he took us to Des Moines. They didn't have an Adventureland at the time. They had called Riverview Park was the name of it. They had roller coasters, those big aluminum slides with the dips in them that you sit down in the gunny sack and take for a ride. Mom said she'd try that slide, so she walked all the way up them steps, sat down on the top of that slide in her gunny sack, and started down the slide. Well, I don't know if you've ever ridden on the slide, but when you go over those humps, you kind of lose contact with your gunny sack, and you just keep going. Well, Mom didn't realize that the slide was hooked up to the audio system in the whole park. So here's my mom. Here's Mom screaming. Yeah. And it was neat. Oh, you asshole! To this day, my 3 children, to the time they're about 7, thought Dad's first name was Aspen. And last, by no means least, we have Mom's grandson Tommy, looking how she does in Neil's eyes. Tommy, could we have you After 44 years together, my dad still sees my mom as his blushing bride in a necklace. They've been known to share the same bed even when they didn't have to. There was a time, only a couple years ago, Dad had accompanied Mom to Des Moines for a seminar of some sort. And there's 2 double beds in those rooms, but they've shared a bed for 44 years. They'll continue to share beds, so they shared the bed. Well, in the middle of the night, someone rolled out of the bed and got stuck between the wall and the bed. So naturally, my father's first response was to laugh uncontrollably for 10 or 15 minutes. Finally helped her up off the floor, got her so that she was okay, sat on the edge of the bed, and then instead of going into the other bed where she could have all that room, she crawled right back into bed with me. Now, if that ain't love, I don't know what is. And her devotion goes just a little bit. She's even created fashion statements. Dad had to go to the hospital for back surgery to have disc removed a few years ago. And I sew. I have a sewing machine, and I'm pretty proficient at it, as a matter of fact. She got to the elevator, and she said to me, Dad, I think when we get home, you're going to have to fix these pants. I said, why? What's wrong with your pants? She said, well, I just bought them, and the pockets don't go right. She said, I've been trying to stick my keys in my pockets, and they won't go in. She had put her pants on back. Well, I want to thank all the grandkids for helping with this special act. As you can see, they have all inherited my mom's spirit of fun and good sportsmanship, especially Tommy. Speaking of inheriting things from our us kids have got some pretty terrific traits. Her sense of understanding, her sense of humor, her sense of responsibility, loyalty, truthfulness. But my brother Ed has gotten the most notable physical trait. If I can have him stand up for just a moment, you will notice that he got Mom's bald spot. Oh, don't feel bad, Ed. I got Dad's waistline. When we were growing up, we learned early how to push Mom's buttons. We were taught by the master. Dad had been pushing her buttons for years. If you want to make my mom run screaming for a room, only need to mention the word mouse or booger. Yeah, there it is. That's the one. Every time you say that word booger, she goes. We used to do it a lot, especially at the dinner table. I did one time I reached an all-time low at stressing my mom out. My mom, like most moms, very proud of all her children and all their accomplishments. And one day I was taking physiology and anatomy as a sophomore in high school. And I came home from school and told Mom I had something for her. So I had it in a box wrapped up in paper towels. And we were at the kitchen table. She slowly opened that box and peeled back the paper towels and picked it up. Well, it's really nice. What is it? Well, in anatomy that day, we had dissected pig, and it was the brain and spinal cord from that dead pig. And when I told her that, you never saw anything brought faster to the floor. And yes, I was called you asshole. Mom used to tell Dad if she ever found a mouse in her house, he wouldn't have to worry about setting a trap. He'd have to go looking for a for sale sign, because she wasn't staying there. And he almost did once. Almost actually did sell the house they've lived in for, 40 years almost now. I believe somebody mentioned the hole in their front yard, the dig into the water meter thing. Well, her and when that happened, our neighbor next door, Shirley Armstrong, my dad, had thought they'd play a real practical joke on my mom, and she was worried all night when it started dropping in that the front of the house was going to fall, and they'd wake up in the morning in a hole somewhere. So that night, Dad was going to let the door open. She was going to tilt all the pictures just slightly that way. So when she woke up in the morning, she'd think the house was slowly falling. Shirley, one of our favorite neighbors. Okay, I think the mayor mentioned her other fear. Mom's a little claustrophobic. She doesn't love enclosed places, bloody murder. Well, I've never seen this firsthand because I know the signs and I know when to get her out of her room. But evidently, a few years ago, she went to Las Vegas to meet my brother and sister from Idaho. And while they were there, they thought they'd do a little sightseeing, so they went to Hoover Dam. This was right before my dad's surgery, and he was in a wheelchair. My brother had so graciously pushing him on the tour. And he slumped over the wheelchair because it hurt him to sit upright. His back hurt, so he's kind of like dead weight in this wheelchair. And Mom went along the tour, and they got in the elevator. 40 people in this elevator, and they closed the doors. Down the elevator starts to go. Tour guide over the elevator starts telling them about the tour they're going to be on. You're now descending to the lower floor of the Hoover Dam, and I don't know if things river is there. You'll be down 4,000 feet. Here, my mom's starting in the elevator. Oh my God. He keeps talking. Down there, you'll be underground in the turbines. Oh, now the head's turning. She's licking the lips. Meanwhile, Zoe and her husband Mark, who's still in Idaho, starts moving the back of the elevator. He knows what's coming. He don't want no part of this woman. Well, sure enough, he keeps talking. She's now, the whole head's going, and the hands are parted. Pretty soon, she blows. Gotta go! The elevator, look. The elevator hits the bottom, the door's open. It's like parting of the Red Sea. Let this woman out. Out she goes. Now, Hoover Dam has two elevators. One that's down, one that's up to take the tour before they got off, back up. She gets off. Not this time. First time in Hoover history, that elevator ever only went up with one person in it. They let her out. Okay, now before I get on to my final adaptation, I want to tell everyone how happy I am to be asked to help roast my mom. And not because I saw it as my chance to publicly humiliate her, although I have enjoyed it, but rather as my chance to publicly honor her. Although I poked fun at Mom tonight, I know she knows that that's just what it was. It was all in fun. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my brother and my sisters to say some things that are usually reserved for those mushy greeting cards she gets on her birthday and at Christmas time. And as I look around the room tonight, I realize that everyone here has had a special relationship with Mary Brunsman Davis. Perhaps as a trusting friend, a helpful neighbor, a reliable co-worker, a dignified city official, a loving sister, a doting grandmother, or a faithful and adoring wife. But there are 5 very lucky people in this room that have known her as so much more. She has at times been our best friend, and at times our worst enemy, our biggest supporter and our best critic. She has built us up and kept us down to earth. She has given us wings and roots. When something is not right in our lives, she's the one we call. And when there is something to celebrate, she's the first one we want to tell. This extra special lady to these 5 people is simply known as Mom. You honor her tonight for nearly 30 years of dedicated service to the city of Dubuque, a job she has done well with dignity and grace. But what you may not have realized is that this was her second job. Her family has always been her top priority. We have been what came first. You all know the wonderful job she has done as city clerk, and that was simply what she did in her spare time. You can only imagine the accomplishment she has made at her full-time job, that of being her mother. So, we thank you, Mom, tonight for all your love and support, and we honor you, along with everyone else here, for leading by example. Now, for my final adaptation, I want to thank my son, Jason, for all the help he did on this project. And I have adapted a familiar poem by Clement Moore, complete with illustrations, and I've left room in the back of this book to include some of your thoughts. So if you look at your tables, in the center of your tables, there's some glasses there that have pens and some different colored index cards. We would love it if you just write Best of Wishes, Mary, with your name so she can remember tonight in the back of this book. I'll flip through and just show you some pictures off. We got pictures in the back. I've left room to include those cards so she can remember tonight. Before I go on, I did get a card here. It said, Mary, would you like to take a ride on the golf cart with Lida? See? She'll know the story and she'll love it. So we'll include this in this book. So sometime tonight, if you'd like to just write a quick note and include it, there's a box over here on the table wrapped in wrapping paper. Just drop it in sometime tonight. And you just, like I said, sign your name and write a quick note. She'd love to hear from you. Okay, this was called 'Twas the Night Before Retirement. 'Twas the night of Mary's retirement, and all through City Hall, things were a bustle. It was worse than the mall. Petitions needed typing, agendas weren't done, in hopes her retirement was all just in fun. The chamber was quiet, the lights were turned off, while the councilmen worried, without Mary, would they be lost? And Sue in her wisdom, with Karen beside her, had just settled down with a hot cup of cider. When out in the hall there came such a noise, Sue ran from her desk, trying to keep all her poise. Up over the counter she stumbled and fell, She landed so hard, she rang that damn bell. The run in her nose, the run in her hose, and her freshly skinned knee gave no indication of what was soon to be, when what to her wondering eyes should appear but Mary, the city clerk, in unusual good cheer, with a pen in her hand and a strange little smile. Sue knew in a moment they'd get through the work in that pile. More rapid her finger on the keys they did tap, she typed up the minutes from the last meeting's crap. Attendance was first. It was almost the same. As she typed in the letters, she called out their names. There was Buell, Nicholson, Robbins, and Markham, Volkberg, Mikulski, Clyde, and Mayor Duggan. The minutes were done, proclamations too. She went on to the permits, and right then she knew. This job's kept her busy over the years, with so many laughs and just a few tears. Let's look back for a moment on the things of her past, the things she's accomplished, memories that last. She's been at this job nearly 20 years. With her it was magic, like smoke and mirrors. She served many mayors, but the one she likes best is the one we have now. He's passed the test. There's been Brady, Farrell, King, and Duggan. A damn good realtor. He asked me to put that plug in. Not just a mayor, he's more like a son. He keeps her in line, but joins in the fun. As she rose from her chair and stretched out her arms, let's pause for a moment and check out her charms. She's a short little lady, about 5'4", but once you get to know her, she's so much more. Her eyes, how they twinkle, her smile, how merry. Her cheeks are like roses, her legs are not hairy. She's a mother of 5 and a wife just to one, but from their viewpoint, she's second to none. She would make us cookies or bake us a pie. She gave us our principles, taught us never to lie. She's a wonderful lady, you know how that goes. But did you know she can touch her tongue to her nose? She showed us that laughing will beat a good cry. More love than she knows from Diane, Edzo, Kathy, and I. She's filled her position with dignity and grace, but she feels it's time to get out of this place. So she's typed her last paper and put it in the file. We can't understand it. I guess we're in denial. So she got in her caddy, and her horn she did blow, and away she did drive, but ever so slow. And I heard her exclaim as she drove out of sight, "Many thanks to you all, and I'll be watching Monday night."